What up, world? Welcome back to Brown Boy TV. It's your boy here, Marvy Marv, and today I have another special guest with us today, my sissy Kiara.
Hi. I'm here.
Tiffany is still out on maternity leave, so I got some special guests coming through like I told you I would. And today we are talking about dating with kids. Sorry.
I appreciate that.
So anyway, it's time for Let's Talk.
Hey, yo, it's Master coming at ya, coming at ya. Rhyme style disaster coming at ya.
Yeah, so you have a son. So how is it dating?
It is awkward.
Is it? Because when we were in high school, you didn't really even have responsibilities, but now you have adult responsibilities and being a mom on top of that. So is it hard to find time to actually?
It's hard to find time, and it's also very hard to figure out when to introduce him to a person.
So what would you? So now that I know you're still probably learning. So how long do you think?
I think the longest I've waited was about 6 months.
I think that's a good while.
I think the earliest probably was a month and a half, which is terrible. I do not recommend.
So
I do not recommend.
So with that, would you say what was the better outcome, the 6 month wait or the month and a half wait?
The 6 month wait actually was too long, and because it ended up being that my son didn't necessarily like the person. Okay. So it was kind of all right, I just wasted 6 months of your life. The 1 month being kind of early, it was okay, and it ended up landing in my engagement, but neither here nor there.
Okay.
It was fine, but it's more so to not waste someone's time. I think it's the biggest thing. So it's if my kid doesn't like you, I'm not.
I was gonna say that. So if he doesn't like you, then it's not gonna work.
No, it won't happen.
So is that an automatic no, or you gotta hear why he doesn't like the person?
Me and my son have a very intense conversation about that.
Okay.
Because he is a very emotionally intelligent person.
Okay.
So he really does he sits and kind of analyzes someone just as much as I do.
Gotcha.
And if he's just the vibes are not there, I'm all right,
okay.
and I don't want to waste someone's time. So it's I think I might hit 90 days with someone and then be all right, we're gonna see what he feels like. So that way no one's time is wasted.
So now you say 3 months in, that's when you introduce him as opposed to, okay. I think that's a fair assumption. Not assumption, a fair time frame, because it's 3 months you kind of know what you're going to do. You know how you're feeling about somebody.
Exactly. And then it's that introduction there is kind of super key to how this proceeds forward.
So if that introduction goes well, is it, because y'all are a package deal, you know what I mean? So how do you balance you and that person's time and then all of y'all time? You know what I mean?
I am very honest.
Okay.
Because I don't want to lie to someone. Again, my son is not he's not mean or anything like that. It's not you can't date my mom. He's just I don't really like you. So if that were to happen, and when it has happened in the past, I make it it's a soft conversation nonetheless, but it's kind of hey, that didn't go that well. So, I mean, and if my son is up to it, and I'm do you want to give him another shot or no? If he's no, then it's just maybe just want your kid to feel supported and happy. And
this is true, because that's very important.
And most of the time, your kids can pick out who is a good or a bad person.
I feel better than us adults, because we're jaded now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, we're terrible. My character judgment is off sometimes, and he's just nah.
So say he likes them, and so how do you balance taking, instead of having date night, it'll be kids, boyfriend, mommy, and kids night. How do you
This is terrible because I'm just entering the phase of actually dating someone with a kid. When I had in the past, we all went out to dinner, or we would go and do a kid activity.
Mm-hmm.
But to date,
Another question.
Okay.
So do you expect them to pay for you and the little man, or
I will never go on a date without money.
okay? But
like-
if they did, that would be a plus, though, right?
If
were
they
like,
do, and like they're like, all right, I got it, then it's like yes. Because if you don't, I'm gonna be over here looking at you like, I mean, so you paid for the other dates, like. But also that just kind of brings you into this thought process of like how they're gonna treat your kid in the future. Because for
Gotcha.
me, it's like if you don't want to pay for my kid, like. I mean, the first date, like, I get it, maybe, but, like, it's also, like, what the, like, we
Right.
come together, so, like, I don't expect you to pay for everything all the time, but
right, but in the okay, I got you.
in this scenario, it's like, dude, okay.
But then it's like, then I always worry about like the overly nice people towards the kids. I get
Ooh,
like,
that's a weird one.
like it's just like
It is a weird one.
you're
very
doing
much
too much too soon. No.
Is it like... I mean, like, but then you also have that person who wants to like overcompensate and
This is
wants
true.
your kid to like them, so they're gonna do all of those
But
things.
see, then you have to run into those people who do all that stuff to get you, but then once they feel like they got you, then
I've had that experience before too.
oh,
Makes me giggle. That makes me giggle because it's like, what? Anybody who's like interested in getting to know your kid is because they plan on being in a space with you for a while. And if they don't, it's kind of like, so I mean, we could just knock this back a couple notches to where. Let me ask you this.
Okay, ask me.
Okay, so if you were in this scenario, how would you feel? Like you had a kid and then like you meet this person, you have this vibe with this person and you've never been in this situation before. Like, what do you think your initial reaction would be? Like trying to figure out.
I would try to figure out because, like, again, my kid would be my most number one, what's the word? Number one priority.
Yeah.
So I would always want to make sure that they're comfortable. But I think I would listen to my kid. So it would have to be like he
Kids
makes
are
me.
petty.
So if my kid says, "Oh, they make me feel uncomfortable around them," then
Yeah.
But if they come to me with some like, their breath stink, like you know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Like,
you kind of got to be like, all right, so we can get them some Listerine.
you
If we like
know what I
them.
mean? It just, if they say they make me feel uncomfortable, I don't feel right about them. That's an automatic, go away. But the kids be
I
petty.
will give you something though. I was asked by one person I was dating, and I always wanted to ask someone else's opinion about this, but they asked me where their seat was on my bus.
Oh, okay.
Because your kid is always your number one priority.
Right.
Right? And then it's supposed to be, in some people's mind, it's your kid, then your significant other.
But sometimes it's the
Then-
significant other than kid.
I don't get down with that. Like, it'd be different if, like, me and the significant other had that kid together. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a different dynamic of relationship I've never experienced. So I can't
Gotcha.
speak to someone else's experience with that.
Gotcha.
But I can say I'm a single mom, and, like, no one comes before my son. There's not a person walking God's green earth that comes before my son. It'll never happen.
Okay, that's fair.
But that is an issue. Just like, so your son is always going to be your highest priority. And it's like, I feel like in this case that I'm specifically talking about, is like they wanted to be the number one person in my life because that's what some people feel like relationship dynamics are.
I wish I could pull up this clip. But are you familiar with the Braxtons?
Yeah.
So when Trina got married Trina and her husband were on like a live or something like during the height of COVID, and he was saying like if it comes down between me and your kid, choose your kid.
Yes.
And then he was like, I would look at you funny if you didn't choose.
That's how I feel.
Your kid.
Like, that's how I feel. But I encountered a person who didn't feel that way.
Did they have kids themselves?
No.
And I think that
Was the
probably.
biggest issue.
So with that now, would you prefer somebody that you're dating have a kid?
I
or
feel
would
like
you-
moving forward in my life, I do not want to date another person who doesn't have a child. Mainly because they don't understand that
Right.
dynamic. Like, I pushed this whole kid out and like did all of this work. Like, this is my humans person.
Right.
Like, there's no one walking this earth who's going to take care of him like I would. So to me, he will always be the number one priority. But that person was like, in a relationship,
No.
your husband is this, and you make your husband's plate first, and you do this for your husband first. And I was just like,
No.
no,
Sorry, that's
never
not.
happened.
That is not what's going to happen.
No, but it was the first time I ever dealt with that, and I was just kind of like, I tried to respect their viewpoint, but it also was just like, how would you feel? Like, how would you look at me?
Comment below what you guys think, how you guys feel about dating with kids. How long do you wait until you introduce them to your significant other? I want to thank Kiara for coming through today. I really appreciate it. I hope you had fun. And, you know, she was nervous, y'all, so, you know.
I was real nervous.
But she did good.
But
So,
this was fast. Thank you.
Yes. So, peace out. Until next time, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Peace.
We miss you, Jeff.